The live stream has started, Chair, and yeah, you are all being recorded and live.
Lovely, thank you very much. So good afternoon all. Welcome to this virtual meeting of the Cornwall and Scilly Fire and Rescue Service Local Pension Board. This meeting is a virtual meeting which is being recorded and live streamed to the public via Microsoft Teams. Should the live stream fail during the meeting will be adjourned so that access can be restored. If the issue cannot be resolved, the meeting will be halted and the remaining business will be concluded at a future date at the Chairman's discretion. As I call board members to speak, I will remind you to switch on your video and microphone if you are joining separately via Teams. If joining with others from the same location, please ensure that the camera in the room is able to see you and the room's microphone can hear you. If for some reason you cannot be heard, our Democratic Officer Richard will advise us. To confirm, the procedure for today's meeting is that board members who wish to speak on an item should indicate by either placing an X in the chat box or just raise your hand. I'll be monitoring and voting will also be by a show of hands. Where a board member has declared a non-registrable interest, a disclosable pecuniary interest, or an interest by virtue of any trade union membership in a matter, they must leave the virtual meeting. Their departure will be confirmed and they'll be invited to rejoin the meeting at an appropriate time. Before we start today's business, I will ask Richard to ask each board member and attending officers to confirm they are present and state their title. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So just starting with the board members, Stephen, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Stephen Miles, employee representative.
And Katie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Katie Hoskins, Station Manager in the People Team at Cornwall Fire and Rescue Service.
Thank you. And Jim?
Jim Pearce, Assistant Chief, Cornwall Fire and Rescue Service.
Thank you. And Debbie?
Debbie Goodread, Employer Representative.
And then finally back to you, Victoria.
Yeah, my name is Vicky Wallen-Hancock. I'm an employer representative and the chair of the board.
And then in terms of officers, Matt, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Matt Davis and I'm the Pensions Benefits Manager.
And then Daniel Altenberg.
I'm Daniel Altenberg, the Senior Pensions Technical Officer with the Cornwall Pension Fund.
And Daniel Andrew.
Dan Andrew, Senior Pensions Technical Officer for Cornwall Pension Fund.
And Liz.
Liz is absent today, but Zoe Skirm is here in her place as well for HR.
Fantastic, thank you. And have I forgotten anybody? That's the end of my list, but
no.
Nobody's looking left out. That's great.
Thank you very much. So I will move on to the agenda. Agenda item 1 is apologies for absence, and we've had apologies from our retired employee representative, Chris Rickett.
That's correct, yeah.
Agenda item 2 is any declaration of interests from anybody? No, none to declare. So agenda item 3, minutes of the previous meeting. I will take these as read. So I need a proposer and a seconder for those minutes, please. I've got a proposal by Deb.
Happy to second.
Second by Jim.
Fantastic. And all those in favour of approving those minutes, could you please raise your hands?
All hands raised.
All hands raised. Fantastic. Then that has passed, Chair.
Lovely. So I'll move on to the main agenda item, which is the Cornwall and Scilly Fire and Rescue Service Local Pension Board Business Update, and I will hand over to Matt to walk us through it, please.
Thank you very much. So my update starts on page 13. Well, it starts on page 13 if you want me to go through the definitions of the member types again, or whether we're comfortable, we can skip on to page 14.
I will ask the board, would it be helpful just to go over from the beginning? I recognise we've got new members. We've got Katie as a new member. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Just to start over from the beginning.
So the membership numbers that we provide come from our pensions admin system, or TARE. Their number of posts, not employees. So it's quite likely that you'll have people that are both whole-time and on-call, and they'll have 2 roles within these statistics. An active member is classed as someone who's currently paying contributions into the scheme. We've then got deferred members, which is someone who has ceased to pay contributions either due to opting out or leaving employment, but isn't yet old enough to draw those benefits. We then have pensioner members, which is a firefighter who's left employment and is old enough to receive those benefits or has received them through ill health. And then you have widows and dependents, which is surviving partners and unfortunately children of members who have died whilst either in the scheme or receiving a pension from the scheme. So if we start with the membership statistics on page 14, we start with the 92 scheme. Obviously that's closed. That's been closed for some time now, so we have no one contributing to that scheme at all. We have 11 deferred members, 258 receiving a pension and 43 surviving widows or children. The 2006 scheme is now split into two sections. You've got the standard scheme, which is the standard scheme, and then you've got the modified or special scheme, which is the section that was open for on-call members to give them retrospective ability to buy membership of the fund. No actives in those. Deferred members are pretty much unchanged, but we will start to see the numbers in the special modified section increase as we process people under the Matthews elections exercise. So we've got 10 new pensioners in the special scheme since the last quarter. So it's the 2015 scheme now, which has got all the active membership in it. We've got just over 350 actives that have only got 2015 membership, so no linked final salary membership at all. 61 who have transitioned over from the 92 scheme, 185 with linked special standard 2006 membership, and 5 with linked special membership. Those 2006 members will change as we process Matthew's cases as well, because they'll move from the standard to the modified if they choose to convert their membership. That gives us a total of just over 600 people currently active in the 2015 scheme. 247 deferred, about 50 receiving a pension, and 7 surviving partners. And then the next rows are the membership that we've had in the quarter. So no questions on that. We'll move on to the Isles of Scilly. So similar numbers for Isles of Scilly as per last time. No movement on the actives, but we have got an extra deferred and 2 extra pensioners, and again that's due to the processing under the Matthews elections. So we processed 3 cases there for the Isles of Scilly. Obviously those numbers are going to keep going up as we process more and more cases under the RDS2 exercise. No questions on membership. It's on to page 18 for the 3 bulletins that have come out. Bulletin 101 was in January. Actions for scheme managers involved encouraging members and employees to go on the training and development. Update from HMRC on offsetting on UPC payments. There was a form to fill in, which we have done to confirm how immediate detriment was applied and how many cases that we did. And there's guidance there on manual cases that we're going to produce and how to refer them to GAD. And there was also a request for an update from FRAs on how we were getting on progress with the Matthews exercise, which we did return by the deadline. Then there was a new opt-out form that's been sent out to scheme managers to get completed. That has gone to both FRAs. The reason behind this is the Home Office are trying to look for reasons as to why people are opting out. So the previous opt-out election form that we were using didn't ask for that information, but now they're asking, there's a tick box on there for people to say why they're leaving the scheme. And I think there's another as well. So if they've got other reasons for opting out, then they can fill that in. And I think periodically we're going to be asked to provide that information to the LGA.
Zoe, do you know if we use that opt-out form?
We use the form.
Yeah, we do.
When we get it, we'll send it to you guys so that you can keep a list.
Okay.
And then periodically we'll ask that from you to
Okay.
then report it back to the LGA, or you'll have to provide it directly.
Okay.
Bulletin 102, training again, asking for more updates on project progress. And this was the one that included the details of the member contribution rate review. So there was scheme manager, payroll guidance and template in there to communicate it to members. And this was the introduction of the extra tier on the contribution rate tables and changes to the rates within those tables. And there was also fundamentally a change from banding employees based on actual pay rather than FTE. So that does introduce a new complexity where people could be moving around between bands, and FRAs are required to have a policy on how they're going to apply that. And bullet 103, update for the Sergeant McLeod calculator, and the Matthews Gav calculator, and again, more information required about project implementation updates. And I think there was also a further update in this one on the contributions again, and the template for the information to go out to scheme members. And yeah, we were given the new revaluation rate, which we've just actually done this. So the new revaluation rate was 3.8%. So those numbers at the top with the pensioners and the widowers, we've actually just sent all of them a P60 and a payslip and a letter confirming the value of their pension, because they've had effectively about a 3.8% pay rise. Pensions repayment. That's it.
Yeah, just in relation to the changes in contribution rate and communication to members. So I can confirm that communication did go out through the corporate communication. Individual letters have just been held off for a moment while we just confirm one of the options in relation to processing, and then all individual members will be informed of those contribution band changes.
So next is page 25 for the risk register. Haven't added any new risks in, but I have updated risks 14 and 16. And this is to reflect the move that we went through last time to the iConnect employer data portal. So we used to gather information about active membership during the year. So that included people that had left but had contributed during the year. And we used to get that every April, May, and it's a big exercise then to update all the records. We now do that monthly, and it's through a portal directly linked to Oracle. So we get that information every month, and we effectively do a data cleansing job every month to make sure what we've got looks reasonable. So it should really help us to keep on top of the data quality and make sure everything looks reasonable for dashboards and statements. And which neatly takes us on to dashboards risk 23, which as we've connected, we've now removed that from the risk register because obviously the risk of not connecting is now disappeared. Next is breaches. No change here. We're still technically in breach of the regulations because we haven't sent out remedial service statements yet. I will cover that in AOB. So I'll move swiftly on. Page 28 is the complaint log. We have had another complaint in the quarter since our last LPB meeting, and it was in relation again to ex-firefighter who's eligible for Matthews and the delays with getting their initial offer package. Again, it was an individual who was affected by the regulation changes from the 1st of April 2026, so we couldn't currently proceed with their case. And we've now only fairly recently learned that although we've had the new regulations in the calculator that we need, we're not going to get till June or July. So unfortunately, we were giving everybody the April deadline, and now it's already back to July. But obviously, it won't be July because we've then got a number of cases to process. But we've responded to that individual and given them that information.
Is there anyone else affected by that we need to communicate to in relation to those changing deadlines?
In my Matthews update, there was a last week an update from the LGA, and they've redrafted all the letters. So I need to review all the letters that they've drafted, and then communicate out to individuals that have got the delay, as well as individuals that are impacted that do need the new version and are impacted by the new regulations where they can convert their membership.
Thanks, Amy.
Great. So next is on page 29, IDRP, which is Internal Disputes Resolution Procedure. We actually have 2 IDRPs on the go at the moment at stage 2, and they're both in relation to firefighters who are affected by the secondary assignment, secondary contract issue. They're both awaiting an outcome of their stage 2 appeal, which is currently with the FRA for a response. But we're not actually able to provide that response at the moment. We've had to go for some further legal advice before we're able to respond. Next is page 30 with the finance update. Quite a short update on behalf of Julia. Still, the claims being submitted for age discrimination ratio really went quite low. Waterfall is still only £359. Julia's completed and submitted the Home Office pensions account forecasting right through to 2031, and the annual return was due at the end of April. And I understand she did meet that deadline. Okay, so there's no questions. I move on to AOB and page 33, which is age discrimination, McLeod Sargent. So there's 2 elements to this remedy, which is future discrimination past. The future discrimination has been done by moving everybody into the 2015 scheme. Retrospective is a lot more complicated, and even that falls into 2 groups. So you have people that have got an immediate detriment because they're receiving benefits. Pleased to say that all bar a couple of cases, all of that work is complete. And as people retire, we are giving them what's known as an immediate choice remedial service statement, and they are being remedied as they go. So everyone is being paid correctly as they leave. The work that hasn't been done is the retrospective remedy for people that are either deferred members or active members. And that's completed by giving everybody a remedial service statement, which is a pretty hefty document. It's about 20 pages. And that gives them all the options as to what the benefits are worth in the remedy career average scheme and what they would have been worth if they'd have stayed in the final salary scheme or legacy scheme for the same period. It is a huge job. We've got about 250 to send, but we are now being encouraged by the LGA to make sure we do these this year. The reason being, there are some members who are going to be due a refund contributions because they paid too much by going into the 15 scheme. And then there's a group that would have paid too little by going into the 15 scheme because they would have paid more if they stayed in the 92 or the modified scheme. Unfortunately, some of those are linked to Matthews as well, because their election that they make under Matthews would then change what we provide on the remedial service statement. So there we can do. And there's also some under the secondary assignment exercise that because they interact so much, we can't produce theirs either. But we've got about 250 to produce, which we're going to have to do this year. The knock on to that is obviously the inevitable queries that are going to come into our team. And we will have to either collect the contribution adjustment if the 92 and modified members want to settle that now. You don't have to, but they could choose to settle them. And those that are due a refund could ask for that refund now, or they can wait to retirement before they take it. But obviously both options is going to produce work and queries for our team. And dealing with that and secondary assignments and Matthews cases and business as usual, something we'll have to give. But I'm afraid the priority level of RSSs has been escalated by the LGA, so that is going to have to come to the top of the list soon.
Yeah, okay. Does anybody have any questions around that? Because essentially what we're saying is other work may have to be put on hold to allow for the RSSs to be completed.
And queries to be dealt with.
Yeah. One of the things that Debbie and I have been discussing is around communications And we've got a meeting planned this week to look at a bit of a comms plan around pensions. And I think this is the type of thing we need to think about building into that comms plan so we can effectively communicate with everyone across the service to try and reduce those queries and questions as much as possible and reduce the demand on your team, Matt.
Okay, much appreciated.
I think there's a fine balance here because sometimes communications can generate queries. So I think we need to think really carefully about how we do that and how we're communicating with our staff.
Oh, yes, so yeah, I'm gonna speak to our software provider about getting some assistance for this, because it is even just producing the statements is going to be a pretty complex process. So they lead to 20 odd pages. And we haven't got at the moment the facility to publish them online, so at the moment we're going to have to post them. Right, page 37 is Matthew's seconds options exercise. Everyone knows what Matthew's is. Do they? I don't need to set any background on that. In which case I get a break and over to Zoe.
So just do a progress update following March that we've done. So we are continuing receiving multiple queries and about progression and where they are. And when we issue a statement, we tend to get a really detailed query about some things we can't respond to. We need to go to a financial advisor about. So we're sort of reiterating that quite a lot recently, as well as a few election forms coming in. It's slowed down quite a bit. However, that we have got a backlog as of this month. We've got 11 that have returned. So we had a bit of a quiet period of completing elections, but then this month we have quite a few on the backlog now because of Matt's team. We can only process about 5 every month. So we've now got 11 outstanding. So election processing will slow down a little bit to allow Matt's team to keep on top of their current workload as well as Matthew's. We did attend an LGA drop-in session regarding the new implementation date, which did for the new regs, which did start on the 1st of April this year, which means a fixed deadline date now of the 31st of March 2027, following the ministerial statement which was inside the FPS bulletin that was released in March. Despite that, the new calculator that Matt mentioned won't be released to us until the end of June. So again, we probably won't be writing out to people until probably the end of July. We have got additional resource now from April. However, I'm training that individual up, so it is going to start slowly, and then hopefully we'll start ramping up. At the moment, so haven't got much increase for March, April, but we hopefully going forward from this month we'll be processing individuals a lot faster with the allocated additional resource, with the 6-month deadline, etc. We have rechased everyone that hasn't done an expression of interest, which was 147 individuals, as well as election forms. Many people should have been out of date or out of time and time barred now. So I've gone back to all those individuals that we haven't received a response for, even if the nil response is being received, especially from those that we've got an email address for, that we have proof that we've been communicated to them. They should really be starting to be time barred. At the moment, we've only got one person that's time barred following LGA guidance for the 31st of March 2025. So we're very low on that at the moment, but we would like to be a bit more strict on those, which we welcome any feedback for. But hopefully we do have a higher take of elections. So in theory, there won't be many people getting time barred, I'm expecting, out of our eligible individuals, because we do have 203 responses outstanding. And then we do have a future coffee morning on deceased cases. We were expecting that last week, however they delayed it for another month, so we haven't started on those cases, but they are included now within our percentages of complete. We do have quite a few deceased individuals that we are unable to locate their next of kins, including children. There is a special definition of children, so they have to reach that definition to be eligible. But if they've got a surviving spouse or civil partner, they would be eligible for this exercise. But we're after some ideas of how to locate these at the moment. We have quite a few that we're unable to find because they no longer live at the current address, or they've passed away, so then they're obviously out of scope, this exercise. So that's sort of it this month, really, for March. There is a lot of progress happening in April, which you'll see in due course.
So you posed the board a couple of questions there, I think.
Yeah.
So one was the time bar question. So
Yeah.
what specifically do you need from the board in relation to
So,
Mario?
so with time bar individuals, we've put an implementation of chasing individuals every 6 months to ensure they try and respond. But we would like to start time barring to reduce workload, and then we could not ignore them, but we've now communicated to them in future. They do have 6 months to respond and seek financial advice, which that's within the LGA guidance. We haven't shortened that down, which we could do, but we haven't done that at this time because we have plenty of time for the 31st of March. But yeah.
Okay, and I think from an authority perspective, we just need to be able to demonstrate that we've done everything reasonably possible to communicate with those individuals. Yeah.
So that's why I think I've written it in this one that we'll chase individuals on a 6 weekly basis to ensure that we meet that without harassing them at their current address.
Yeah, ultimately it's a scheme manager decision, and then we'd just have to come to the board just to say that's what we're doing. To check that the board's comfortable with it.
Yeah, okay, so if the board's comfortable, we'll ask the scheme manager with regard to time barring and bring that decision back here. Is that okay, Zoe?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, if we put that as an action.
Okay.
Yeah, and then your second question, I don't think it was directed at the board, but it would be useful, is around identification of individuals and what our options might be in relation to identifying dependents of those that are deceased.
Yeah. So we have one option is to go through our tracing supplier. However, we're quite not unsure actually if they would even be able to locate those individuals. And then another would be another comms route, but we're not quite. We have to identify reasonableness of identifying these individuals, so that could either be through social media, etc. So it depends on the preferred route or the reasonableness route we would like to go down.
Okay, so is that something that we need to explore outside of the board and look at the options in relation to how we contact individuals?
I imagine it'll come up at the LGA call on deceased cases as well.
Yeah,
to see what other funds are doing, but I don't think we can try through our chasing company.
Yeah.
But I don't think I know. But looking for people 20 years ago, it's going to be very difficult to find these individuals. So it might be more of a blanket social media thing. Get in touch if you think you could be affected.
You've got to draw the line at some point, and so I suppose as an organisation, if we've shown that we've done what we can individually against those, and then you put a blanket one out at that point, there's probably no more that can be done.
No, and it's not like RDS 1 that closed. So if we do get contact from people in the future, even past the deadline, we'll still be able to process them. It's just obviously we want to be shown to make them made an effort
and maybe repeat the generic message.
Yeah, possibly
on a regular basis. You could send out every 6 months or so. Just push it out. So if somebody's missed it first time and they've got an opportunity, which takes into your point, then if there's no time limit, it can be processed. Yeah. Seems reasonable, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. That's something we can discuss tomorrow when we're talking about communications.
There was another action from our internal meeting from last month, was about holding deferred cases where they're impacted by the new calculator. Some FRAs have gone away and calculated individuals as non-conversion, but there was going to raise it to the board today where we've decided internally that we wouldn't be doing that, and that we would be holding those individuals until July to calculate those with the new calculator to reduce workload. Otherwise, Matt's team would have to put on Altair for their pensions for their non-conversion, and they would have to relook at them again for conversion for their 2006 to special as well.
Yeah, it actually doubles everybody's workload.
Yeah, and it's not that far away, is it?
No, it's not. And to be honest, if we did process them now, we wouldn't get through to them by the time we could redo the deferred calcs anyway. And to be honest, because of the way the conversion would work, if we did it now, they're likely to be faced with either paying by lump sum or paying by contribution. If we wait, we can potentially do them as a pensioner, and then we can take it off their benefits. So they're more likely to take it up. And even if they don't take it up as a deferred, we still have to re-offer it in July.
Yeah.
Saving a lot of extra work.
Yeah. Okay. Is everybody happy with that? Thank you, Zoe. Was there anything else?
No, that's it, thank you.
That's yourself, Matt.
Yep, so the last thing for me is the secondary contracts, which is mainly on page 42. We've been processing, or we have processed everybody in this situation who's already receiving their benefits. So nobody is not being paid correctly. Anybody who leaves, we've processed them to make sure they're paid correctly. It's the retrospective work now that we're trying to complete. And we've come across a situation where we've had to raise a technical query with the LGA, and they've come back questions with questions. And we've had to raise another legal query on that before we can proceed. So for the time being, we're not actually processing these cases until we get a response back from our legal advisors.
Sorry, are these people that are still holding the legacy secondary contracts is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Just for the time being, we're going to have to put those on hold.
But if one of them does decide to leave or does decide to move on to a new contract situation, would you be able to process them at that point?
Potentially. Depends on whether they're affected by the technical query we've raised.
Right, okay.
So unfortunately, it's going to create that situation again where we could do some and not others.
So we might just need to think about, so it won't be vast numbers, it'll be very small numbers, but the work around moving the legacy secondary contract holders onto new on-call contracts. So rather than leaving because they've left the service or promoted or whatever, they want to continue. We're starting to move that work group into that phase.
Yeah.
So I suppose what we might need to just think through is if we get an individual that does want to do that and they're in that technical bit, how we manage that.
Yeah.
So whether we're able to still progress with the new contract situation because they've agreed it, but then sort the pension out after.
Yeah,
which sounds like
we find it's the retrospective work that
it's the retrospective work. Now, I suspect that most of those individuals wouldn't want to do that until they understood what the impact was on them. But it's helpful to understand how we might be able to manage that moving forward. Should somebody come forward?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like you said, I don't think it stops somebody changing their contractual arrangements. It's just the clarity around that pension element. Yeah.
And they would get like a combined like secondary assignment remedial service statement, because part of the issue we've got is the choice they make under McLeod will affect their benefits for the secondary assignment period as well as to how we treat it. And we can't do one without the other at the moment, which is why we've got this group that we can process.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm not sure either of those things from either points of view are going to be sorted out quickly or as quick as we would like.
No, it's quite complex.
Okay.
That was it.
Thank you very much. So are there any other questions or queries for Matt in relation to the business update? No hands, Matt, no questions.
Oh, we've got one.
Oh, sorry, Stephen. You're on mute, Stephen.
Oh, is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah. Afternoon, Matt. I don't know if you were going to cover it in a minute, or annual statements, or didn't do them last year, and are they coming out this year?
Yeah, well, we did. That's what I was referring to with the remedial service statements. So we did.
Okay.
So we did everybody who wasn't impacted by McLeod got a statement. It's only the people that needed a remedial service statement rather than an annual benefit statement that we haven't done, but we will be endeavouring to send all of those out that we can this year.
So everyone should get something, basically, or what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. And even those that don't get one this year will get a letter to say why they're not getting one.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's as long as you cuts out a lot of where's mine or whatever like that, and that sort of thing.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah. And the deadline for that is the end of August.
Right, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Debs.
It may not be appropriate, but I'll ask the question now. Ill health retirement reviews, should they feature in the update? Not the detail, but just how many or not?
It would be something that would come to the board, yes, so I could add that into my update.
So it's a good
Well,
question, really.
Yeah, very good point.
Liz messaged me a quick update for ill health pension reviews. They started them last year. Apparently we had 6, 3 have come back, and Liz is still pursuing another 3 of them that haven't responded yet. So
Yeah, obviously I won't be able to give personal details.
No.
But it would be good to put. It's the sort of thing we should be covering in the board. For sure.
Yeah, and I think you're right, Debs, because it's something that we've just reinstated again in line with our policy. So I think it's important that the board has sight of those.
Yeah.
Like you say, Matt, without the detail.
Just the numbers.
Yeah, can do that.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Debs. Anything else? No. I don't have any other urgent business, so that brings us to the end of the meeting.
Sorry,
So-
Chair.
Oh.
Can I just jump in? Could we have a vote for?
Oh, of course. Sorry, I've completely skipped to the end of the meeting. Thank you for the reminder. I need a proposer and seconder for that, don't I? For the recommendation. Apologies. So let me just go back to the recommendation. So the recommendation, thank you, Matt, is that the members of the board note the update provided within the business update and seek from officers such clarifications or further assurance as they require. So can I have a proposer and a seconder for that? Debs? Stephen? Thank you. And I'll refer to yourself, Richard.
Thank you, Chair. Could everyone who is in favour of approving this recommendation please raise your hand?
Yeah, full house.
Full house, and that has passed, Chair.
Thank you very much. So I will now move on and say there is no any other urgent business, and therefore we will bring the meeting to a close. So I refer to yourself, Richard. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Chair. I'll just ask for the live stream to be stopped, and I'll let you know when it has.